The cost of IT in business can be staggering. From hardware and software expenses to services like internet and phone, you don't need to spend a fortune on IT to succeed. If your organization spends more than $500 monthly on any service, or you're considering signing a long-term contract, IT Enabled can help you manage your technology and minimize your costs. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. IT Enabled, we're here to help.
We're so excited to have you on our podcast this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tara.
Yeah, so why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about your background, where you're from, how you got to Lufkin, and then we'll jump into the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, great. So I grew up in Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia, small town, 12,000 people, and went to Arizona State University. Followed my sister out there. She had started a year before I did, so I went out to Arizona State. Got a degree in recreation and a minor in youth agency administration. So really what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Started working for the Boys and Girls Club in 1978 and worked in Arizona for about 32 years. And then I was in Southern Nevada, Las Vegas area for 2 years with the Boys and Girls Club. And now I've been here 5 years in East Texas.
I love that you've been with the organization that long.
Yeah.
That's a true testament to not only you and just but your love of this organization.
Yeah. So 40 years and have had a wonderful career, have gotten great opportunities. But being in Arizona, being in the Phoenix area, being in Las Vegas, as we looked at kind of after our kids had grown and moved out of the house, my wife and I wanted to kind of be in a smaller community. When I was growing up, I didn't like it when I was growing up, but, in a small community, if you did something, by the time you got back to your house, your parents were on the stoop waiting for you and they knew what was going on. And, when I was a kid, I didn't like that too much, but I kind of like it now, and I like knowing that you can really make a huge impact.
Sure.
And you can be very close to the people in your community.
That's fantastic.
So tell us about the Boys and Girls Club. I feel like this, it's a long-standing organization. Everyone has heard of it for sure, but kind of tell us about the organization, what it does, what its purpose is, and kind of how it operates.
Sure. So the Boys and Girls Club is the oldest youth-serving organization in the country. It's been around since 1860, started in Hartford, Connecticut. There's about 4,000 Boys and Girls Clubs across the country, serving about 4 million kids a year. Here in East Texas, we've grown considerably in the last 5 years through a 21st Century grant, but we have our organizations called the Boys and Girls Club of Deep East Texas. We had 6 clubs in 5 counties. We now have 12 clubs in 6 counties. We are in Nacogdoches, San Augustine, Angelina County, Houston County, Polk County, Hardin County, and I'm missing one. San Augustine? Okay.
That's
6,
okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
No, that's 6. That's
there you go.
That's 6. And the Boys and Girls Club provides our main goal is to help enable the young people of today to grow into productive citizens of the future. We know that the children in our community are our future. They're going to be the future leaders in our community. So we're trying to instill certain skill sets into them. The measurable outcomes that we're looking for are healthy lifestyle, good character and citizenship, and academic success. So we do that through 6 core areas of the club. A lot of people associate the Boys and Girls Club kind of with swim and gym, athletics, sports, but we're a lot more than that. We serve kids between the ages of 6 and 18. And basically, we do character and leadership development. We do education and career development. We do health and life skills. We do sports, fitness, and recreation. And we do the arts. So we try to expose those kids to as much of that as we can and give them a little bit of a diverse curriculum when they come into the clubs. It may be sports that draw them in. It may be the parents need someplace for them to go after school or during the summer months. But we try to expose them to a lot of different things, and then hopefully the kids can learn a little bit of each of those type of core services and find some interest for their future.
I was one of those that really thought Boys and Girls Club was all about athletics.
Mm-hmm.
And then for years, I've served on the United Way Committee. And I was fortunate several years ago to be on the committee that got to come and to tour the facility and to see what it was about, to be able to help go back and get you funding for your United Way. And I was just amazed at all that you do with the leadership and the core training and the education. Something that I wasn't even aware of all that you did. And to watch those kids interact, with y'all, and to see the computers that are in there and the learning that's going on there, it was amazing.
Yeah, and that's really been a large concentration the last couple of years, Tara, especially with the amount of learning loss that's occurred through
Sure.
COVID. We've tried to get our kids to be a little bit more academic. We're working with the school district. We received a T-class grant, which is kind of a COVID relief grant to help with education. So we worked with the school district to try to identify kids specifically that were falling behind, and we've hired tutors to work with those kids
That's great.
to help them kind of get back to where they need to go. It's pretty interesting with academics. A lot of teachers will say that that first 3 years of schooling, kids learn to read. And then after that, after you get out of third grade, you read to learn. So if the kids aren't reading at a third grade level, by the time they get out of third grade, they're always going to be behind. And they never catch up, and unfortunately the system sometimes just continues to progress those kids and they fall farther and farther
That's
behind. And those are the kids that you see when they get into high school and stuff like that. No, they're not going to be able to compete. So a lot of them drop out, unfortunately.
Right. Wow.
So.
Wow. What are some things specifically that the Boys and Girls Club is doing here in our community?
Sure. And so in Angelina County, we serve about 2,000 kids a year between our club here in Lufkin and our club in Diboll. This summer right now, we're seeing probably around 400 to 450 kids a day.
Wow.
Between those two locations. So an average day during the summer, the kids will come to the club. We provide breakfast and lunch for the kids at the club. We keep our fees low so everybody can afford. We also partner with Medicaid. So if your children are either with AmeriGroup or Superior Healthcare, they will pay for the membership for your child either the summer or the school year.
Wow.
So like I mentioned, we provide both breakfast and lunch for the kids. So they'll get there 8 o'clock. We'll provide breakfast for them. Then we'll break them into age-appropriate groups, and then they'll rotate to the different areas of our club. So we do activities outside in the field in the mornings while it's still cool. The club here in Lufkin has an aquatic center, so we'll rotate the kids over there. We work with Michael Phelps Foundation to provide swim lessons for kids that can't swim.
That's great.
And then we also have a summer swim program, and then we have our year-round ambush swim team that's there. But within the club, kind of like Tara said, we have a computer lab, we have a learning center, we have a social recreation area that has like pool tables, ping pong, air hockey. We have the gymnasium that we do activities in. And then we have kind of a multimedia room that we use. A couple of years ago, we put a theater system in there. So
That's great.
We'll show the kids some academic videos, but then we'll also show them kind of fun movies too as well.
That's great.
So and we get the kids from 8 to 5. So for the summer, we started the Tuesday after Memorial Day. We go till the end of this month. So I think it was 9 weeks for the summer. It's $75 for the entire summer, and again, that includes 2 meals a day.
So cheap.
Yeah.
So and we tell people it's like, okay, if you get 2 meals a day, that's 10 meals a week. You can't feed your child for $20 a week,
No.
for that. So we do that, and then the school year, which starts the week after school, we with our partnerships with our school district, they provide transportation from the local schools to the club, which is a great resource for us and our families. So we start a week after they start because they need a week to kind of get their bus schedules situated and things like that. So we'll go from there till the end of May, and that again is $75 for the entire year.
Gosh.
Wow.
So, and we provide dinner for the kids during the school year. So here in between Lufkin and Diboll, I think last year we provided about 80,000 meals.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
how
it's a year.
what is the time? So they get to you 3:30 and stay until what time?
So during the school year,
Right.
We're open from 3 to 7, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
During the summers, we're open from 8 to 5.
That's just fantastic.
Wow.
So you're a nonprofit. How are you funded to be able to take care of all these kids?
So we try to use a diverse revenue stream. I think if you get too codependent on one category, be
100%.
it grants or special events or whatever that may be, then if you have a bad year, kind of like the COVID year,
Yeah.
then it becomes very, very difficult. So we're fortunate. There are a number of large local foundation, TLL Temple, Kurth Foundation, Keeler, that help support the club. We hired a grant writer a couple of years ago that's brought in a substantial amount of money to help us.
Great.
We get individual donors. We have corporations that contribute. We do one special event. We do our Night of Southern Charm, which is scheduled for August 13th
Okay.
over at Pittsburgh Garrison. So if you want to go to our website to find out information about purchasing tickets.
And so tell us about that. What is the night?
So the night, we wanted to have an event that kind of highlights Texas, that Texas feeling. So that's why we call it a Night of Southern Charm. It's very casual. We have people that come in suits. We have people that come in jeans.
Okay.
And as you come into the evening, we'll have a little bit of a reception time in the very beginning. And then we have silent and live auction items. We do something we refer to as a paddle raiser for people who may come that evening that maybe their company purchased the table. Maybe they weren't able to bid on a live auction item. Maybe they didn't receive the auction item, but they're able to, they still want to contribute to the club. So we do a paddle raiser where they can sponsor a certain amount of kids per year, and that's their contribution.
Nice.
We do a dessert auction. We have a catered dinner that's provided by Tomei. So it's a very, very nice evening. We'll have probably around 350 people
That's great.
in attendance.
That's great. Well, I remember when I first moved home, y'all used to do, I guess, black tie bingo.
Yes.
That's been a long time.
Yes.
Well, that's great. Yeah, definitely go and support that if you're looking for a great night out, August 13th, a night of Southern Charm to raise money. You do so much for these kids. And I would think that they probably look at y'all as maybe father figures or brothers. I mean, it's just a phenomenal organization. So I know that you must get very emotionally attached to some of the kids.
We do. And that's very difficult.
Yeah. Because you have to be able to separate it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we don't allow our staff to have relationships with the kids outside the club. We want our key theme for our organization is safety of children. So we can only provide safety if it's within our walls. But we also know that some of our kids come from very difficult family situations. So we try to make sure that the time that they're at the club is a time that they can have fun, they can express themselves, they can experience different things. I think when you talk about kids and the kids dreaming and what their goals are, if you don't expose them to a lot of things, then they don't know what's out there. So last week, for example, today actually, our kids from Lufkin are going up to SFA for a one-day STEM camp.
Awesome.
So they do 3 STEM activities. They get to see a planetarium show. They get to have lunch in the cafeteria.
Great.
They get to have lunch at the cafeteria, which is always a highlight for the kids because a lot of times they get to eat what what is prepared for them, and
Right.
here they go into a large cafeteria and they get to choose anything they want to eat and stuff. So that's kind of a fun experience. We'll take them down to NASA. We'll go down to the Houston Museum. We try to get them out of the community. If they want to continue to have their life here in Lufkin, that's great. But for them to think about other opportunities, they have to see other opportunities out there.
That's right.
So I have to tell you a quick story with our kids in Crockett, with our 21st Century program that we do out there. One of the things when we did an assessment of the teachers, the one thing they told us is they just want their kids to go on a field trip. They didn't care where that field trip was, but 90% of their kids had never been out of the Crockett community.
Yeah.
So we took them down to, one group went down to the Houston Zoo, one group went down to the Houston Museum of Arts. And when they drove through downtown Houston, they lost it, because they saw these huge buildings and, the freeway and all these vehicles. And it was just something that had never seen or experienced.
Wow.
So it was all just brand new to them. So I think if our kids are looking for those type of opportunities, I think it's important for us to provide that experience
That's
for
right.
them.
I love that. That's awesome. How can people be involved? If you want to support this organization, can they volunteer? Can they donate? Obviously, I think some way to support the events would be a huge thing, because at $75 a kid, you guys are definitely a nonprofit. Like, that's definitely a nonprofit organization that's trying to help people. So how can people help?
Sure. Well, again, we love volunteers. They definitely make our organization, especially volunteers that have specific skill sets.
Okay.
I think somebody that just comes in and says, I just want to spend time with kids, or I love kids and I just want to be around them. Sometimes it raises kind of a red flag for us.
Sure.
Also, those volunteers usually get bored. They'll come into the club, and the club is a busy place. And if our staff are continually having to monitor those volunteers or give them something to do, it's a little bit more challenging. But if you come in with a skill set, so, hey, you know what? I want to teach digital photography. I want to teach cooking. I want to teach kids how to sew. Whatever that may be, I want to show them graphic design. All those types of things, especially on computers, are stuff that kids are really interested in. Those are the volunteers that are a little bit more successful. Mm-hmm. So we do background checks. We not only do a local background check, but we do a federal background check on our volunteers. So if we have a volunteer that's lived in 3 states in the last 2 years,
Sure.
We make sure that we do that, our due diligence, and make sure that, again, the kid's safety is the most important thing. So they can go to the local club and fill out an application. They can go to our website, www.bgcdet.org, and they can find an application there, or call our administrative office, which is 936-560-6844, and we can send them an application. And then after the background check, they'll go through a brief orientation, and then they have the opportunity to work with the kids. If they want to contribute to our club, again, if you go to our website, there's a donation portion where you can make a monetary donation. If you're upgrading your computer at home and you're looking to donate a computer, or if you have sports equipment, if your kids have kind of outgrown sports and you've got old footballs or basketballs or soccer balls that you're not using anymore, we can use all that type of equipment. So we look at anything like that, an in-kind donation. We refer to it as in-kind as income, because if you donate something we don't have to buy, that's no different than you writing a check to us.
Sure.
That's right.
It's the same kind of contribution. So any of those ways are ways that people can contribute to the club. If they want to attend our event, same type of thing, they can go to our website and they can find that information about the event.
That's great.
Well, y'all just do such phenomenal things in our community, and we thank you for your dedication to the children of East Texas.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity this morning to talk to you a little bit about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate having you on the podcast. And I want to thank you so much for listening again this week. If you'll do us a favor, if you'll subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening, if you're listening on iTunes, on Apple, you just click plus at the top of the screen wherever you're listening to this, or on Spotify or any other podcatcher. And if you want to catch the video version of this podcast, we also release these on the Chamber Facebook page and on the Chamber YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.